Guys, my name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find latest album reviews. You can find our band reviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. I've been posting a ton of stuff. Check out my review of Curse Earth, the Deathbed Sessions. If you're interested in like hardcore, metalcore, things of that nature, it's definitely one that I feel like you should listen to. It's absolutely insanely fresh for this year, and it's probably one of the better things that I've heard in 2019 this year so far. Also, I'll be posting a ton of live sets, interviews, things of that nature. If you're new, check all of those things out. I would greatly appreciate it, and thank you for stopping by. But tonight, we're going to be talking about Carousel Kings' newest record, Plus Ultra. I want to give a huge shout out to Victory Records. Thank you for sending this over early. I know that the album is already out, but I feel like I had to do a review of it. Also, this band is very familiar to my area, the tri-state area. I know that they're from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I've gone to see them many times at this point, and I think they put on a great live show. But and I thought Charm City was also very good as well. So I was curious how they're gonna follow up that record, how they sound now, and kind of listening to the whole record and see what my thoughts are on it. So like I said, I'm gonna go through each track, give you my thoughts and opinions on it, go through some pros and cons, and then fish it out with an overall rating. So the first track, the title track of the record, is called Plus Ultra, and it features Pete and Bill of Hang Tight, which is really cool. There's a lot of really awesome features on this record, so I feel like, I should point those out as they come. But getting back to the track, I like how at the beginning of the song, I think it's more of a production thing, and, I know that they wouldn't do this live, but I like that each guitar is kind of panned to the right and the left headphones of the song, which I think is a really cool production thing. I might just be that nerdy music dude that enjoys that sort of stuff, but I thought it was really cool. I know a lot of bands, not a lot of bands, but I think that when it's utilized well, it does really cool things, and I think they did a really great job of that. Also, I really love the sort of layered vocals in the first verse. I think the harmonies on a lot of these tracks are really fantastic. And I think it is further surmised in this verse of the track. The chorus is actually super catchy on this track as well, and I think that Pete and Bill really add a nice addition to the track as well. I couldn't really figure out where they were kind of placed out in the track. On the other ones, I feel like I could pick out more of a distinction between all of them, but for some reason my ears really weren't clicking all the way on this one. But I think it really adds a nice depth to the track. I think vocally it kind of switches up between obviously the different vocalists, and I think it makes the track interesting. So we're gonna move into track number 2, which is Move Slow. This one features Lex E. I'm pretty sure that's how I said it. I don't know. Again, if you are familiar with the channel, I'm already bad at this, but this one's one of my favorites. It was one that hasn't been released yet, it's been released, but at the time it hadn't been released, and I love the riffs in this track. I think the way that their guitarist concocts some of the tracks, and just the guitar parts are really fantastic. It has an awesome groove to it, but I would say the biggest highlight of this track is the vocals. I think in comparison to the first track, Plus Ultra, I think they really took it to the next level. They really brought it up that next step, and that's really awesome. Probably one of my favorite choruses on the record as well. It's got a great swing to it, and Lexi comes in at around the 2 minutes and 18-second mark to around the 2 minutes and 30-second mark. She has a great feature on the track. However, I would have loved to hear her kind of do her vocal part in the last chorus. I think that would have made it really interesting, as well as just kind of tying that sort of portion of the song in as well. I think it doesn't obviously drop my rating in terms of how much I like the track, but I feel like if they had another chance to maybe redo it, I would love to hear that. I think it would have, just further accentuated the track and just the vocal aesthetics going on in this song. So we're gonna move into track number 3, which is Shell Shock. This one features Spencer Charnas of Ice Nine Kills, another really fantastic band that I am not particularly into, but I know that Spencer's got a fantastic voice, and I've definitely heard him sing, not only live but on records too as well. I think overall this song has a really sort of solid pop punk alternative basis to it. The electronic layers throughout this track are a really nice touch overall. I think the melodies are really solid as well, but it seems pretty straightforward. It doesn't feel like they really went too far out. I feel like in comparison to Move Slow, this one feels a little bit, kind of in their wheelhouse, but I would love to hear a little bit more experimentation. Spencer comes in at around the 2 minutes and 26-second mark to around the 2 minutes and 50-second mark, and I think he's always a great feature, but I think that I think he does some really awesome vocals on this feature in particular. I would love to, again, kind of in the same vein as Lexi, I'd love to hear them kind of do more of a harmonization, kind of pulling everything together. I think that would be really interesting. I think it was a solid song nonetheless, but not one that I feel like was in my favorites. So we're moving to track number 4, which is Code Breaker. This one is one of the singles that they had released at the time, and is also one of my favorites as well. I think it is easily, by bar none, one of the best tracks off the record. I think the only one that I feel like might knock it out would be Lock Me Out. I feel like those two tracks, ironically, the first 2 singles that they had released are probably the 2 best tracks off the record. Instrumentally, it's fantastic. I think it's really original. It's really got this cool kind of like funk like feel to it as well. Kind of in the vein of like Dance Gavin Dance, like Hail the Sun, things of that nature, where it's a little bit more like funky, a little bit more rhythmic. I think that it is insanely catchy. It's one of those songs that, again, as soon as I put it on, I knew I was gonna love it. Vocally, I think it's also the most expansive. It's anything from kind of those low register vocal parts to some really high, almost falsetto-y sort of voice tracked. There's a lot of head voice, and I think it really sounds awesome. I think structurally, musically, it's fantastic. I really just feel like you should go check this one out without a doubt. So we're moving to track number 5, which is Ghost. This one's another favorite of mine. I think that this one really took me by surprise, just because there's just a little bit more aggressiveness, there's a little bit more grit in the track, and I think that's what really surmises a really great pop punk track to me. Vocally, I think it also has just a really great punch to it, and it's pretty surprising based off of how the intro of the song kind of started off. It was a little bit softer, it was a little bit less, aggressive, and I feel like they kind of kicked it into gear after the first chorus, things of that nature. And I think it offers a really nice balance too as well. There's some really soft moments in the verses, and then there's some really powerful, energetic choruses in this track as well. So we're moving to track number 6, which is Lock Me Out. This one's one of my favorites, and it features Charles Caswell of Buried Alive. If you haven't checked out that band, fantastic, you need to check him out. He's really awesome guitar player, and he put out a really great record as well that I can't remember, but really awesome song nonetheless. The intro riff for some reason reminds me a lot of In Too Deep by Sum 41, especially in the chorus. It definitely, for some reason, it just kind of like triggers that memory of that song, which isn't a bad thing. It's a fantastic track. That's a fantastic track. This is also a fantastic track. But damn, this song is super catchy. I love the energy of this track. It's really one of those songs that you expect them to do, just in terms of just like high energy, really just kind of fun, just a fun track all around. And I think that again they really killed it. Some really stellar vocals, and then just the harmonies in this track are really on point. Those were those things that really kind of stuck out to me. Charles comes in at around the 2 minutes and 13-second mark and goes around the 2:45-second mark. His solo's sick, definitely really adds to the overall energy of the song, and I think that it was a really great feature on his part. So we're moving into track number 7, which is Great White Buffalo. This one features Rory of Dayseeker, my love. I love Rory. But definitely a favorite track of mine. And I think the reason why I like it is just it's a really great ballad track. I feel like a lot of, like pop punk bands kind of stray away from this as of recently. And this one just really knocks it out of the park. I think it was really cool that they had Rory kind of start off the track. You can kind of hear his vocal patterns, his vocal melodies in the beginning. I like the sort of softer, I combine the two words, sad and softer vibes of the verses, and then they kind of build up to the choruses and really give you a nice payoff. Rory comes back in at around the 2 minutes and 30-second mark into the end, and I love that they kind of collabed into this. In this song, there's some really great harmonies that they've crafted together, and overall, I think it just is really just well structured, well arranged, and it really tugs at those like ballady sort of heartstrings. So definitely want to give a listen to if you haven't yet already. So we're gonna move into track number 8, which is True Seekers, and this one features Matt of Gutter Life, a former member of CI. Carousel Kings used to be on CI, and obviously Matt of Gutter Life is on CI Records, so it's a cool collaboration on their part as well. This one has a sort of easy core sort of vibe, especially at the beginning, and just the tuning of the song really kind of stands out to me. It's a little bit chunkier. It definitely feels like they use like a 7 string or something like that to kind of emulate that, or they maybe drop tuned it a little bit because it definitely sounds a little bit heavier, which is definitely nice. However, the song definitely mellows out at around the verses of the song, and then kind of picks up a little bit in the choruses as well. I think that the chorus is one of my favorite parts of the track, and I think it's further surmised by some of the great harmonies that they are able to craft in this song as well. Matt comes in around the 1 minute and 57-second mark to around the 2 minutes and 22-second mark. He ends off with. And I love the aggressiveness that he brings to the track. I feel like a lot of the guest features, excluding maybe Rory, just kind of kept in their lane, and I feel like this one is just kind of one of those off the wall picks that I think really at first was a little bit rough, but as I got to listening to it some more, I feel like it really kind of melds in and it really works with the whole song altogether. So we're going to move into track number 9, which is Shelter. This one features Tyler Arkin. If I pronunciated that wrong, I'm sorry, dude. But this one's one of my favorites as well, and I think this one is a very interesting track. It wasn't one that I was sold on initially, but as I kept listening through to this record, it was one that I kept coming back to and really enjoying. It was one that completely grew on me, and it definitely has that like old school, I would say like Vessels era of 21 Pilots, which is really nice. It also has elements of trap and hip hop in there as well, especially with the sort of beat. And Tyler really killed it in this track as well. I'm pretty sure he's the ending portion of the song, which is around the 3 minutes and 30-second mark to the end. I think he does some really cool like saxophone parts, which is definitely interesting. I think that it was something that I wasn't expecting, but I felt like they were going to do something like that in this track. It was just one that caught my ear, and it was something that was just a little bit different than the rest of the songs off the record. So we're moving to track number 10, which is Monarch. This one's also one of my favorites as well, and I dig the sort of piano and pads sort of intro. It feels very reminiscent of a lot of pop music that's out now, where they definitely use a lot of that. I think the vocal pairing with that sort of piano-esque thing going on, I think really works. It is also an extremely well written track. The chorus is absolutely catchy. I really enjoyed this track as well. And something that really caught my ear and something that I really enjoyed as well was that around the 2 minutes and 50-second mark, they do a key change, which is definitely awesome. I feel like a lot of pop punk bands kind of stay away from this as well, especially if it's not handled as well. And I feel like this one really worked because I feel like they kind of started at a lower key where, you know, they felt comfortable with doing their stuff, and then they kind of brought it up to something where, you know, where it has a little bit more punch, it has a little bit more edge, and I think they really kind of knocked it out of the park with this one. So we're gonna move into the last track number 11, which is Jamias Vu. I'm pretty sure I pronunciated that I wrong. Please don't butcher me. But anyway, getting back to the track, this one features Ricky and Jack of Hawk, who used to be This or the Apocalypse, which is really awesome. And I know that they've worked together in the past as well, since Ricky does some production work. But getting back to this song, this one is very interesting. It was probably up there with Shelter in kind of a shock value sort of way. This one kind of has almost a sort of island, almost reggae sort of feel to it. And I think it works well. It was one of those ones that I again, wasn't really attuned to at first, but as I've listened to it many times, I feel like this one's definitely grown on me. It is a solid all-around track. I think the thing that I appreciate most about this song is just the experimentation, the thought behind it. I think that they wanted to go for something different, and they really went for it all the way. And I appreciate the commitment to trying to do something different. I believe Ricky and Jack's part is around the 2 minutes mark to around the 2 minutes and 45-second mark. If somebody in the band happens to watch this, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think they bring a unique aspect to the song that is already unique in its own right. So I thought this one was very interesting. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's good either. It was just one that I thought was very interesting, and I think it's a solid way to close out the record, just with a little bit of a shock value. So we're gonna go through some pros and cons. One of my big cons was I feel like, you know, some of the experimentation that they did paid off. I feel like in tracks like Lock Me Out and Codebreaker, and Move Slow, I feel like those were ones that, you know, I feel like fans of the band wouldn't typically expect, but it was one of those ones that all three of them were ones that I was like, man, these are really fantastic tracks, well written, interesting, you know, melodies, interesting musical arrangements, and I think that it really works. However, there are some songs I feel like they definitely took a little bit more of a safe route, and they really didn't pan out how I would envision them to, but I think they are solid nonetheless. Some pros that I have about the record, I think they did some really great experimentation, like I had mentioned, in Move Slow, Codebreaker, Lock Me Out. I feel like those were very interesting in their own right, and I think they did a fantastic job of those, and I hit the bullseye for sure. There's some really solid songwriting throughout the entire record. Even songs that I didn't necessarily feel like were my favorite, I definitely feel like they wrote them well, and they were solidly ranged. I think vocally it's pretty diverse as well. Anything from kind of low register vocals to high and kind of falsetto-y sort of stuff. Instrumentally, I think it is really solid. I think instrumentally might be pretty close to their best work, if not their best work. And then I think overall, I think with all the features that they had, they were really able to bring out a lot of the best aspects of all of those bands and put them into their own songs and make it their own. So I think just kind of concocting everybody and just kind of allowing everybody to do what they feel would work in the track, I think really, you know, speaks volumes about this record. So my overall rating for Carousel Kings Plus Ultra, I'm going to be giving it a 9.4 out of 10. I think it's a solid record. It's one of those ones that I'll probably be listening to for the next month. I don't think that it is, you know, I still think it's in contention for album of the year, but it is one that I feel like needs a little bit more time to grow on me. And I feel like some of the tracks that I mentioned that are my favorite are pretty locked in, but some of the ones that I'm on the fence about, I feel like have the chance to get better. But let me know in the comments what you think about this record. It's out now via Victory Records, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. If you agree with me, if you disagree, I'd love to have that sort of conversation in the comments below. And check the links in the description. Find out about Carousel Kings if you haven't already. They're a fantastic band from Lancaster. Please go give them a listen. Go check out their new record as well. And if you enjoyed this review, make sure to share, like, subscribe. It goes a long way. And like I said, my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.